All right. Welcome, everyone, to Chef's Night, a culinary tribute to Black history. We also want to welcome all of our corporate members who are joining us on the live stream. Tonight, we are joined by, I'm so excited by this panel. I'm so thrilled to be here. Tonight, we are joined by Melba Wilson, chef and owner of Melba's Restaurants. Alexander Smalls, James Beard award-winning chef, author, restaurateur, and culinary activist. There we go. There she is. Hi. Charlie Mitchell, James Beard award-winning executive chef at Saga. What's up, chef? JJ Johnson, celebrity chef and founder of Field Trip. And last but certainly not least, Kardea Brown, Emmy-winning host, chef, author, and restaurateur.
Delicious Miss Brown.
All right now. I love it. Everyone's got their people here. I love that. All right, well, tonight is about food as storytelling, how recipes carry memory, how media shapes culture, and how these amazing chefs have helped redefine what America sees, eats, and celebrates. So, I have a little warm-up question for you all. How did your upbringing shape the way you cook and tell stories through food? Don't all jump in at once.
Well, for me, being born, bred in... Well, first of all, hello, everybody. Now, you guys know I'm from Harlem, where there are lots of churches. So hello, everybody. There we go. I'm super excited to be here on the stage with all of you guys. Thank you so much. Being born, bred, and buttered in Harlem, during the summer times when school was over, we could not really afford to go to Disney. So our Disney was hopping in the car, taking a 11 to 12 hour drive down the South Kakalaki, okay? And it was Hemingway, South Carolina, where there were only 3 stoplights. None of you probably ever heard of it. We're from Hemingway. What? Yes, Hemingway in the house. Hemingway, Rodney Scott, as you know, Sylvia Woods. But that's when I would go in the garden with my grandmother and pick what? Greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, you name it.
All small.
But food for us was more than just a meal. It was a way for us to continue our legacy and for me to hear stories about our ancestors that I never had a chance to meet. So everything that was important in our house happened over food.
Love that.
Yes.
Love that.
Well, hey, everybody. How you doing?
Hey.
Good to see you all, especially you Carolina people. I think that, interestingly enough, we all share Carolina. My family is from Charleston, Beaufort, the Gullah Islands, and Spartanburg. Kardea is from Charleston, and Hemingway, I don't know where they're from. But for me, food was everything. Food was a language, a culture. It was how we loved each other.
Yes.
And it all started at the kitchen table. And it all started with my mother cooking 3 meals a day, no matter what, and her little helper, yours truly. I just recently published my first children's book talking about the influence of food and cooking with my mother and with family members. And what I understood at a very early age was it was such an expression of love and nurturing and community. And it was a no-brainer that somehow or another I would find myself years later doing this professionally. Because as a kid, I was the only child my parents had that had to have a party all the time. My dad built me a clubhouse in the backyard, and we were grilling hot dogs, from 6 years old. So food informed my childhood and thus informed my profession.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same. Food was very special to us growing up. Is what we fellowshipped around the most out of anything. I think for me today, the way it influences my food is probably just in bringing big flavors. You know, we grew up eating a lot of food that had a lot of personality to it, whether it's spice or salt or smoked pork or fatty foods, you know. So I think for me it's important that when people come and have my food that they leave with impressions of like big flavors that, you know, are important to me.
Great. What about you, JJ?
I'm great. This light is so, I mean, it's bright. I hope I look good.
You need some shade, chef?
Great.
Guys,
Thanks, Alexander.
guys.
Thank you, Alexander.
You got this. You got
Great, JJ. Great.
You know, I was listening to everybody's story. It's very similar. I grew up around the table. You know, my grandfather was in World War II from Barbados, sold his home in Long Island. That one home became 3 homes in the Poconos where I grew up. And we all basically lived around the corner from each other. My dad commuted back and forth to New York City. I still don't know how he did it to this day. But what happened was I got dropped off at my grandparents' house. My grandmother was, you know, Afro-Latino from Puerto Rico. My grandfather was from Barbados. So the house always had a lot of music playing in the household. It would go between salsa to calypso to soca. And then I also had my 2 great aunts that were my grandmother's sous chefs. And when I was young, I would just be in the kitchen with them all the time. And they made me believe that food was fun. Because you would see them having the best time of their life, and then this table for 10 would come out with all this food, and my parents and my uncle and my aunts would show up back from work. Everybody would sit down, we would eat, and I was very young. And I would be in the kitchen with them, not knowing that at the age of 8, I would tell my parents that I wanted to be a chef and go to Culinary Institute of America, and I've never done anything else in my career. So for me, food is about storytelling, it's about community, and it's about the people that maybe haven't been able to tell their stories, and chefs like us are able to tell the stories of the unsung grandmothers in the world. So.
Wow, everyone's story is so elaborate. Unsung stories of the grandmother. I love it. That's the next book. That's your book. For me, growing up in a Gullah Geechee household on the Sea Islands of South Carolina and Charleston and Walt-Mala, Edisto, it's the reason why. It's my why, you know. Back then, growing up, I didn't know the significance of the type of household I was being raised in. You know, I just thought we were Geechee. You know, we talked funny, you know, and we you know, kind of did things a little different than most African American, quote unquote, black households, because, you know, of being direct descendants of West African and enslaved people. You know, while people think of you know, your traditional New Year's Eve, like New Year's Eve or New Year's Day dinner, like that was typical for us to have Hoppin' John, collard greens, fried chicken. That wasn't something we just did on a special day. That was the everyday way of living. And so it's the growing up in the Sea Islands have shaped the way I cook, and it's the fabric of American Southern cuisine, you know? And so being raised in that type of environment and seeing firsthand the influence of where I'm from, you know, on the world. Like you can go to a Michelin star, 5-star, whatever restaurant and see shrimp and grits, and it's like $75.
Be careful.
And
you know, Charles. You
I'm sorry.
got 2 Michelin stars.
Not chef. But you go to these restaurants and see shrimp and grits, and they're making it all types of ways, and it's like, oh, you know, I got to get geechee. We go right up to the creek and get our shrimp, and you know, we have our grits that, you know, we build right there on, you know, so, but I say all that to say, you know, growing up in the Sea Islands and seeing how it has shaped American culture and Southern culture is my why of what I do. So, yeah, that's my reason.
I love it. Thank you. That's great. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't explain what was going on at the table here. So we've asked everyone to bring a little something. Now, let me just say, they asked me to bring a dish, and I was like, you want me to bring food to these people? Like, you want me to attempt to bring anything? Like, I'm not gonna do it. I brought a cocktail, it's not up there. It's okay, because tonight is about you guys. So, Alexander Smalls, you brought the icebox lemon pie. Very nice, that looks delicious.
Icebox lemon meringue.
Oh, lemon meringue, oh yes, okay, clock that meringue, okay. I got it.
You have to let them know.
It looks amazing. Melba Wilson brought the Tris mac and cheese. Delicious. JJ brought the jollof rice, of course, with wok veggies and toppings. Very good. Kardea, I knew you were traveling, so that's okay. And Charlie, you brought the dirty rice for us here. So, yes, this looks amazing.
Oh, yeah?
I know we got a little rice competition going on stage. So tell me a little bit about the dishes that we brought. Let's start with the icebox lemon meringue pie. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was the first pie I learned to make. I learned to make this at 5 years old.
Wow.
It was, and again, cooking with my mother, it was so much fun because, I mean, those of you who know this pie, I mean, it's condensed milk. You know, it's rich and smooth and sweet, and then that lemon zest. It was my go-to. I would make one for me and one for the family. And you know, my mother protested about that for a while, and she said, "Oh, we're gonna let you do this, so you can understand what that means." Because anybody who has eaten too much lemon icebox meringue pie, the next day, you are in for a moment. I won't get graphic, but let's just say I would be bent over. And, you know, and then as a kid, short memory, because I'd forget. And then it was time to do it again. But so it was very much a part of my upbringing. It's the only recipe in my children's book because I want kids to understand how important it is and how much fun food can be. And you know, the only thing I couldn't do was toast the meringue. But everything else, and squeezing the lemons, rolling out the graham crackers with the rolling pin, and lots of butter, and just putting all that together. You know, of course, as I've grown older, I've added sophisticated little moments. But yeah, that's what that's about, and it's foundational in who I am as a Southerner.
It looks amazing. Melba, so let's talk about the meat and three.
Yeah. Meat and three, I have my low country collard greens, my creamy Tris mac and cheese, and of course my ASAP yams. Collard greens, as we know, were very, very bitter. Our food was typically known as garbage food, right? And it's food that we had to recreate and season so that it tasted good. So the collard greens, very bitter, supposedly. And what we do is we infuse those with smoked meat. My grandmother used to use ham hocks, Alexander, which I knew you would agree with. At Melba's, I use smoked turkey, okay? So definitely a smoky flavor. A little bit of vinegar, brown sugar to take away a little bit of the bitterness, and some red pepper flakes. So stew them, let them take a while to cook so that they're tender. And of course my creamy mac and cheese, which if you've ever been to Melba's, there's a cheese string that goes all the way to heaven and back. That is the viral moment. Cheese, okay, we've got to shred our cheese. People do not buy pre-shredded cheese, right? Right,
And that
Kardea?
elbow grease.
Definitely, right? Put some elbow grease in there, right? At Melba's, we use Vermont cheddar, we use mozzarella, and of course, we use pepper jack. That's what gives it that little bit of kick.
You're giving all the secrets tonight.
I know, I gotta
Right.
To egg or not to egg? Come on, my family's from the South, so you know them eggs are going up in that mac and
Eggs,
cheese.
you say
You
eggs,
know that,
mac and cheese,
definitely.
eggs.
Absolutely. Custard-based.
Oxtail. Again, it was the part that was discarded. That people did not want to eat. We stew them, cook them, we marinate them for 2 days, stew them, cook them, all types of spices and seasonings. And the whole key about oxtail, do not pick it up with a fork and knife. You better put your finger up in that bad boy, put that bone in your mouth and get all that gristle and all that goodness in that au jus. And that is how you eat our meat and three. But the meat and three was in the South when a lot of times we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have a lunch hour. So we would go into the cafeteria and order something that was filling, sustainable, and that tastes good. Always in a cafeteria at the countertop. That is the history of the meat and three.
Very good. Thank you. All right. We got a couple rice dishes up here. So who wants to go first? Who wants to talk about that? Charlie?
I'll go first. I have
Yes.
way less history with mine. This rice dish was born, maybe I think it was a couple years ago. It was important to me because it was one of those moments where I kind of found myself. We were at the time at Clover Hill. We were serving two different types of bread. I was trying to serve like a sourdough and like a brioche, and I just felt like I was really trying to just show a lot of technique, to guess, versus doing what was true to me. And I'm more of a rice boy than a bread boy. So we snatched the bread off the menu. We did a rice dish, but then it was like, well, we can't just do any rice dish. So I wanted for it to be something that was important to me. And growing up, my grandmother used to make a dirty rice for us. But then I also wanted to represent where I am today as a person, as a chef. So, growing up, it would be either with beef or with pork. And here we use maitake mushrooms because at the time, I wasn't eating red meat at the time. We source a rice from Japan. It's the sugahime rice, which I just love the texture. Also, growing up, we used to use bell pepper, but since I've been living in New York City, I've been introduced to a lot of Scotch bonnet. So we use Scotch bonnet in the rice.
Clap it up for Scotch bonnet.
Right? And even also like the rice is like a coconut rice. So these are things that growing up as a little, kid in Detroit, I wasn't cooking with Scotch bonnet, right? Scotch bonnet and coconut and all of these things, but I think it was really like something that started true to my childhood that's turned into all of the experience I've had through cooking and living in New York City. So that's how the rice was born.
Great.
You said you had nothing to say about rice?
Well, not as much as they have.
Everybody got something to say about rice.
Right, that's right.
Especially you,
Well, yeah.
right?
No, I'm like, I'm about to go. I was about to go up there and take a bite.
Listen, there's forks and spoons there.
what'd you say?
It's for
That's
everyone to try.
Japanese rice?
Yeah.
Yes. Japanese rice.
I've never had dirty rice with coconut milk in it before.
Then you got to try some.
So I'm
Not right now.
I see a
Another time.
fork.
JJ, you're the rice king.
Chef said no. Chef said no. I'll talk to chef on the side. I'll talk to chef on the side.
I gotta ask questions, but everyone is free to try everything that was brought up here. We have plenty of utensils, but I'm sorry, Chef JJ.
No, you're cool. I have a rice bowl shop called Field Trip. I wrote a cookbook called The Simple Art of Rice. I believe that rice is culture and it connects everybody. So, hearing Chef's dish of what he wanted to cook from his grandmother's house, like that's what it's all about, right? There's a dish that really tells you about somebody's history. We can go around the room and everybody can give a different rice dish that they grew up on or they remember. And I brought jollof rice because I went to Ghana with Alexander in 2011, and I never had jollof rice before in my life. Somebody was cooking for us, and everything came to the table, and everybody was looking for the rice. And I was like, well, there's this goat, there's this mutton, there's this fish, there's all these things, but why is everybody waiting for the rice? And, I grew up in a household where there was a lot of rice, and then my working mother started cooking rice, and me and her did not like, that's the only thing I like about my mom is that she cooks not really good rice. She cooks it really good now because she has my cookbook and she listens to what I tell her.
Shady.
And it's our biggest debate. It's the only thing I can really roast her for. And Alexander would tell me, what do you mean? Like, rice is the thing. And jollof came to the table, and the first time I've been into jollof rice, I was like, hold on, that's Spanish rice. Or is that Charleston red rice?
Yes.
Right? And realization that it was the same thing, it was derivative of the diaspora, and that you can use the grain or the cooking method to trace back and touch on all the points. So that's why I brought jollof rice today. It's Ghanaian style jollof rice. If there's any Nigerian people here, I want no beef at all.
Man.
Appreciate that. And it's one of our top-selling dishes at our restaurant at Field Trip. And also brought some pineapple black fried rice as well, just to show the versatility of rice. But you know, I'm about to talk to Chef. We're about to do a collab over here.
Dirty rice with coconut?
Coconut milk?
Amazing. It looks great, and that's a great jumping off point to my next set of questions, because I wanted to talk about roots, identity, and cultural inheritance. So Kardea, you were talking earlier about Gullah Geechee traditions, right? So that is central to your work. How do you translate heritage cooking for a modern TV audience without losing its soul? Because you do have to dumb it down is not the right word, but you have to make it sort of everyone understands and gets the nuances. Are you able to do that, do you think, when we're doing this on television? Oh, what's that face for? Wait a minute.
I'm about to give it to you.
Yes,
I did not.
tell me.
I did not.
You didn't? Okay.
No. No.
Great.
I told my producer, which I'm so glad that I have a really great set of producers from Frank Productions that was like with me when I said, listen, if we're going to do this show and we're going to base it in Charleston, South Carolina, and talk about the Gullah Geechee people, it is not going to be watered down.
Yeah.
I told them that from the very beginning.
That's right.
I was waiting on that part because I was like, oh yeah, and you know, on mainstream television, you do kind of have to explain it in a way that everyone understands, because not a lot of people knew about the Gullah Geechee culture or even Edisto, or that this group of people existed in America, and so I felt like it was my almost responsibility to educate. And I felt that it would be a disservice to viewers if I did not tell them the absolute truth. And having guests like Chef Alexander Smalls talking about the history of the Gullah Geechee people on the show, and having people, like, it was my duty every single season for 10 seasons to make sure that we had some type of Black history or Gullah Geechee fact inserted into an episode every single season. And so when it was time to talk about how African people were taken unwillingly, you know, from the West Coast, the Gold Coast and the Ivory Coast of Africa, I did not sugarcoat that. They, you know, were forcefully taken and made the best of it during the transatlantic slave trade, and you know, something beautiful came from that. You know, a lot of the Southern dishes that people know and love today came from, you know, these enslaved West African people. And so I just felt like it was a duty for my duty to explain that to America's, like, hey, you know, again, you go to a restaurant, you love your shrimp and grits, or you go to get your okra stew, or what all these, and like in Charleston, there's still plantations that exist. And there's a lot of people who come to Charleston and love to see the history of Charleston, and they go to these restaurants like Husk and Magnolia, and you have all of these wonderful, you know, things in front of you, like the red rice, the okra stew, your different things, and they're like, you know why you're enjoying that? It's because West African people came here and brought all of those things with them, the okra and the rice and all of that, and so it was my duty to tell America that in the best way possible. So
yeah, that's great. Yeah. I love that. So Melba, Harlem is a part of your brand and your mission. So what does it mean to be a cultural steward of a neighborhood through food?
Well, it's all about the point of view, right? Some people look at Harlem, and back in the day, Harlem was known as a ghetto. They said yellow cabs didn't come up, and they didn't.
They did.
For me, I've never looked at Harlem as a ghetto. I've always looked at it as the mecca of Black culture.
100%.
So when you think about it, you know, there's James Baldwin, there's Langston Hughes, there's the music known as bebop was born in Harlem. Darn, Chicken and Waffles was born in Harlem at Minton's Playhouse. You're 100% right, which JJ and Chef Alexander Smalls opened. So there's so much history in Harlem. And for me to be able to represent a neighborhood that I'm born, bred, and buttered in, and that I still live in, and that I have a 26-year-old son who lives there, it's an enormous responsibility, but it's also an honor. You know, listening to Kardea talk about enslaved people coming from West Africa, we owe it to our ancestors to tell our stories. Yeah. It is our duties. You know, we know the names of some of the people, but we will never know the names of all of the people. It's the ones that go unknown. So there are times when I walk outside of Melba's and I go, what the heck was I thinking? What was I thinking? And then I look to my right and there is a monument to the one and only Frederick Douglass. And then I look to my left and there with faces coming out of the hem of her garment is the one and only Harriet Tubman. And it's not what I've done. I look at my life and I say, I have so much more to do because we can never repay them for what they've done for us.
I have to say, I live in Los Angeles now, but I lived in Harlem for quite some time, and going to Melba's was definitely a ritual for me. And those lines were long.
They still are.
It's still
They
far.
still are. But going to your restaurant was such a part of my life in Harlem, and so I just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you so much. Thank
It
you.
really and truly
Thank
was.
you. That means everything to me because
Yeah,
we don't
absolutely.
advertise at Melba's. It's
All right,
all
we're-
word of mouth.
Okay, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, actually. So, Alexander
Yes.
Smalls, Monsieur, you've long framed cuisine as culture and history. How do you think about preserving Black culinary legacy in America?
How do I think about it?
Yeah. How do you frame it, I suppose, and specifically with what you do?
Well, you know, I have made it both my mission and passion to elevate the presence of the African American diaspora through a culinary lens. It has been my passion. Some 33 years ago when I left, I was an opera singer, as you know, and I left the stage because I hit a glass ceiling. I hit that point where Black men trying to transition into the higher echelon of opera was not welcome. And particularly in this country, we had to go to Europe, in which many of us did, but we were not allowed to practice that profession. But while I was there and while I was having these experiences, I recognized that there was a culinary conversation going on around the world that we were excluded from, that our foodways had been diminished and not even recognized. Somehow or another, the world wanted me to believe that the French grandmother's heavy cream and gravy was better for you than my grandmother's brown pan gravy. And I thought there's something very wrong, sick, and demented with this concept. And if I ever had the opportunity to approach it, to add value to the conversation, not because I wanted to be at that table, but because I wanted future generations, as well as my own peers, to recognize the value of who we were through our culinary legacy.
Yeah.
So I, 33 years ago, opened Cafe Beulah, which Cafe Beulah was a love letter to the ancestors, but it was also my way of creating a elevated culinary experience that essentially rivaled, but also brought value to who we were as Black people. And we set out to do that on 19th and Park Avenue South. And I chose the neighborhood because I wanted to be very clear that this wasn't, a effort without gravitas.
Yeah.
So I took it to the community that was celebrating 2 blocks from Danny Meyer's, you know, and I basically built what I considered my church, which was how we started to create a movement of Black food, Black people in this industry in a way that showcased and highlighted our best.
Yeah, I love that. Amazing. That's great. Chef Charlie, fine dining has historically excluded certain stories. How do you bring your own history and perspective into that world?
Just by doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, honestly, right? It's kind of that simple, right? I mean, like you,
Sure.
yeah, I think I ended up cooking, and I chose to cook in a certain space, and I think that was pretty obvious to me once I got the opportunity to create my own food, write my own menus, right? And so I realized that I had a opportunity to say something, whatever that might be, right? And I think that it was important to me to highlight the things that are actually important to me and representative of me and very authentic towards me, right? I think there's challenges, you know, where, like you say, you've never really seen they charge a certain price point for certain food and thinking that if it will be something different if you change the ingredients or make it fancy or whatever, or if people understand the message at a certain point, right? But I think that for me is like, well, you just have to feel really happy and proud about what the food you're cooking, and it has to be very authentic towards you. So I think for me it was very natural, more than I was like nervous to like show my personality on the plate. I think you're just kind of nervous in general as a chef because you want people to love your food and to come back and to spend their money with you. But I think that it was really easy for me, just like trying to be myself.
That's amazing. I love that. Great. So to talk about cooking on camera, right, and building a public voice, you know, especially, you know, we're here at the Paley, we're talking about media specifically. So for everyone here, who were your early food, TV, or media influences? And what did they teach you directly or indirectly? Why don't we start with Kardea?
Oh gosh, the early faces of B. Smith.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Love B. Smith.
Oh yeah, I mean that was like the first I know of you know, growing up in the, you know, early 2000s, late 90s, and seeing her she was on Food Network, and a lot of people don't know about that. And so seeing her there and was like one of my first like experiences of seeing a African American woman on television. So yeah, she definitely was one of my first.
They were calling her the Black Martha Stewart. I
Oh,
remember,
and she
back in
was.
the day. Yeah,
Yeah, she was. I mean,
amazing. JJ, what about you?
I used to walk up and down the hallways of high school saying I would be better than Emeril Lagasse one day. and because when I was in high school, nobody was talking about being a chef.
Right.
No.
They would clown me all the time.
Yeah.
And I used to watch Emeril on TV. He was entertaining. He was doing things nobody ever saw people doing before. And you know, the woman who was behind the scenes on his show years ago is now the executive producer in the production company behind my show, Just Eats.
Amazing.
Which is really a
That's
crazy.
so cool.
Yeah,
Talk about manifesting. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, really crazy.
That's really incredible. Charlie, what about you?
Actually, the same answer, Emerald.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I watched way too much TV when I was a kid, to be honest. But I think Emerald definitely stuck out to me young. You know, I think especially because in my family, at least like the big chefs in the family were like the grandmothers, and like Emerald was like this guy who was in the kitchen all day. So it just kind of was like a little bit a different type of inspiring, you know. But definitely Emerald when I was a kid.
Okay. What about you, Alexander?
No.
No? Okay. Pass.
I didn't grow up looking at
Gotcha.
chefs on TV and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I had so many.
No Julia Childs?
Not really, but she was constipated in her speech.
I love it.
And she always dropped things and picked them up, and and she'd throw them in the, I mean, no.
The first.
You know, but also, I mean, food for me, most of the TV shows are, competitions or sport or this and that, the other. And it just went, a really refreshing moment is when Kardea, Miss Delicious Brown, did her show because it was about something. It was about a community, it was about a people, it was about a value system that I could relate to. And it brought me home to my family's kitchen. All that other stuff.
Fair enough. Beautiful. Yeah. What about you, Melba?
Not necessarily.
Or do you have more Julia Child slander?
I'm going to leave that for Alexander and his bourbon. Not necessarily on TV, but definitely in my heart. And right in front of me, my dear Aunt Sylvia from Sylvia's Restaurant.
Yes.
As well as the late, great Edna Lewis.
Yep. Okay, good. Sorry, a little off track there listening to you guys. Okay, so hosting, let's talking more about cooking on television. We won't bring up Julia Child. I now realize she is persona non grata on this panel. But Kardea, so hosting and teaching on television requires warmth and clarity. How did you find your on-screen voice? And what is it like cooking for TV? Because I imagine that it's very different than just being in the kitchen. There's a lot of factors, a lot of moving parts. You've got lights and sound, everything like that. So how are you able to find your voice in the midst of all that business that happens?
It was trial and error, I believe. And also, I actually just had this conversation earlier with someone. First time ever being on television outside of the one time that I was on the Cooking Channel, which kind of like started my career on Food Network. I'd never really seen anyone that, like, besides B. Smith, look like me on television. Where I'm from, representing where I'm from, and how that, like, it was truly trial and error. Because the first season, if you go look back at the first season of Delicious Miss Brown compared to the last season, oh my goodness, I watch it and I don't cringe because it's like it's all a part of growth. But I watch it and I'm like, oh, why did I say that? What is that? And I'm like, season one was, oh, thank you. It was awesome. And I learned to, I learned my, it wasn't that I learned my, I found my voice. I just stopped caring about what I saw on, because what I did was, I was a single Black woman in my early 30s when I started Delicious Miss Brown, and I did not look like anything else on television. And watching Food Network, I thought that I had to come in with this idea of Food Network is a very family-centered, TV, show and network, and everyone has families, and everyone is married, and they have children. I am a young Black female from Charleston, South Carolina. I am single, and I was mingling, and there was now I'm married.
Not too much on the mingling.
Right. and I didn't really know what that looks like for me, and so I kind of my first season I was trying to emulate things that I had already seen, and it didn't feel right. It didn't feel comfortable for me. And so if you notice, by the second season and the third season, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be me. You can either like it or you're not.
Yes.
And that is exactly what I did. I just, kind of let all of the, inhibitions go and just you know what? I'm in the kitchen. I don't even feel because there is a lot of moving parts. What you don't see behind the camera, that there's 30 people behind there in my home, in my actual home. And, I have one showrunner or producer that's talking to me, asking me questions. But after a while, Pat was just like, listen, he didn't even ask me questions or anything else. I would just talk. He just allowed me to just do my thing, and you kind of get used to it. But there is a lot of moving parts with cooking on television and doing ITKs in the kitchen, dump and stirs.
ITK?
ITK in the kitchen. That's what they call the realm of your Saturday and Sunday mornings on Food Network. They're called ITKs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I just just be yourself,
Yeah.
and you kind of forget that there are, you know, an entire crew that's behind there looking at you, waiting. They weren't looking at me because they were judging. They were like, okay, so when are you going to give us the food?
Right.
Because I fed my entire, like I feed them, you know. So it's like they're, you know, it's fun, but it is quite different than you just, because when you look at these shows on television, oh, I could do that. They're not doing anything special. You try to go up there, chop,
Harder
cook,
than it looks.
tell stories, and not burn something up, not cut your finger off. Okay, right, because I remember, I have a good, if y'all watched the show, Auntie C. Auntie C just knew she was going to come on there, and girl, I can do that. That's nothing. I could be on television. The first time Auntie C walked into the kitchen and then the cameras were there, they were like, so TC, tell us about, you know, the stories of Kardea when you were growing up, and then can you chop the onion for the shrimp and grits too? And Auntie C got up there and said,
Just froze.
it just froze. You know? So,
Yeah, it's harder than it looks.
it's harder than it looks,
Yeah.
but you really can. I mean, it's like either you have it or you don't. It's like it's something that you can't teach anyone authenticity.
Well, obviously you have it.
Oh, thank you.
JJ, so you move between chef, founder, and media personality. So how do you decide what story you're telling in each format? So does it change given like where you are in the room that you're in?
I mean, if you know me, you know I keep it at 100 all the time.
Every time.
So, you know, there's no way for me not to be true to who I am. Because if I'm not true to who I am, my mom's gonna come, my dad's gonna show up, my G's gonna, you know, my family's gonna call me out.
Yeah.
But I also just believe that you should just be, the best you is you.
Right.
And I always just try to be myself through all of it. If you read my cookbooks, I give you vulnerable stories. If you come to moments like this, I'm talking to you just like if you're my homies at my house coming over. But I think the biggest part is, you know, when on my show Just Eats on Clio TV, you know, they've, over the 7th season will come out this year, but they have let me really just actually cook what I want to cook, talk what I want to talk about. The only thing I don't really have control over is the guests that come on the show with me. But the greatest thing that food does is it breaks that whole barrier down.
Yeah.
So then it's like kitchen table talk, and then I can't get rid of these people. You know, and if you ever watch my show, at the end there's a wall that they do like a reality TV show interview, and people are like, don't take the food off the table.
Right.
And as Kardea was saying, on my show, I cook everything from start to finish. There's a kitchen in the back where there's a couple of swaps for the harder items that take a really long time, but a lot of the cooking is real stuff. And you're right, cutting those onions without crying on TV,
Oh my gosh.
right?
Stick my head in the freezer.
Is it even possible? Are there like tricks to that?
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. What are the tricks?
I mean, I put my head in the freezer literally.
Wait, literally put your head.
oh, I did it on the
the
show.
trick-
Like we put that in there.
Like before, after.
No, the
during?
trick to onions is you need a sharp knife
Yeah.
and you need to have good ventilation.
Oh, that doesn't work for me. I'm
That's
gonna cry.
all it is. You don't need no lime, no lemon, no sugar, no salt.
Right. Okay.
I'm putting
You need a sharp knife and you need good ventilation. And we live in New York City, so none of our apartments have good ventilation.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but no, just, you know, for me in my career at this moment is really trying to just, I'm always excited about food, but it's really, I get excited every day I'm able to hire people.
Yeah.
And hiring people in different elements of the business, if it's in the restaurant from a college kid or high school kid being the cashier, if it's a migrant with their first job here in the United States at field trip, teaching them how to cook, or if it's a senior person being director of operations, or career changer coming over to the food space, or a young kid that is dreaming to be a chef that's interning. Those are the key moments of like how I feel will make impact into the culinary space for the future. But no, you get JJ, the same JJ all day, it doesn't change.
Yeah. That's great. So I want to ask you guys and all of you then, so how has being on camera changed the way you think about food, creativity, or even yourself as a chef? Let's start with Charlie.
On camera?
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean,
on-
have
I'm
you
not on
done
camera
much
as much as-
cooking on camera, like actual, like, this is how you make a dish? I know I've seen you cook on camera.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little. Yeah, a little bit. But it doesn't, I don't do it enough for it to really impact
Right.
my approach or anything like that. you know.
Right, right.
So whenever I do it, it's just like fun to do something different because like I'm always in a restaurant behind the stove. So
Right.
I'm like excited to do it. It's not really that challenging.
Melba, you've cooked on camera though before, yes?
Yeah, I've actually beaten Bobby Flay.
Yes.
Yeah, he's trying to get me to come back. I told him I'm Floyd Mayweather. I'm not going back in the ring. I'm not getting back in the ring.
One and done.
But yeah, it's definitely different. Eyes are on you. I actually beat Bobby, not on Beat Bobby Flay, but on Throwdown with Bobby Flay. So I did not know I was going to compete against him. I thought I was going to do a lovely demo of chicken and waffles. All of a sudden, the redhead, the ginger, walks in. And I'm like, oh my God, the Iron Chef, Bobby Flay, has come to watch me do my demo. No. Are you ready for a throwdown? It doesn't happen to black girls, and it definitely doesn't happen in Harlem. And so, yeah, I think on television, you don't really have time to think. It depends on what you're doing. Yeah. In that moment, I didn't have time to think. It was like, it's on, let's go, you in my house, I got to beat you. That's pretty much what it's about. But cooking on television, like we did the Great Soul Food Cook-Off, was totally different. The food was cold, timing, like Kardea said, there's a bunch of cameras back there, 99 people were on the set. So it's totally different, and sometimes by the time you do taste the food, it's not what it was intended to be. So it's definitely different than cooking in the kitchen. Beat Bobby Flay, definitely totally different. They have it down to a science where when we are tasting that food, it is actually very, very hot. So yeah, it's two totally different worlds. Potato, tomato, what?
Tomato.
There we go.
That's great. Earlier, Alexander, you were talking a lot about your commitment to preserving legacy, and the Black diaspora through the culinary lens. So, it is Black History Month, so we have to talk a little bit about representation, right, and the responsibility in changing the industry. So, do you all feel a sense of responsibility when you're in representing Black culture and Black excellence in food, and what does that responsibility look like in practice? Because I know that there's a lot of sort of back and forth and mixed feelings about being like a Black chef and a Black chef in this way, but I feel like it is. There are people who feel that way, that they just want to be recognized.
Tell me who's saying that.
Name names. Name names.
Put their name out
listen,
here.
Listen, I think.
Who's saying that, Melba?
I think there are people who. Listen, I don't think they're trying to not be Black. If that's what you're.
No, yeah, I'm just trying to understand the statement.
I think in just terms of the representation as like a Black chef, like Charlie has been Michelin starred, recognized. He's
Two.
Black. She was the first
Hold on,
Black
two.
chef in New York City. The first to get a Michelin star. So that carries with it some weight. That carries with it some responsibility. So what I'm asking then is, as chefs who are very connected to that and have a lot of pride in that, what does that mean for you? How do you show up in that way, in that space that feels authentic? Okay, Charlie, we'll just ask.
Am I going first?
Yes, you go first. 'Cause I will just say quickly. When you got your Michelin star, I was there for that. I was just in the audience, just watching, and I was like, when they called your name, you went up there. I was like, is no one else freaking out the way that I'm freaking? Like, I was so thrilled to see your beautiful Black face up there. I was so thrilled. It meant a lot, and that was really sort of the catalyst for me for really digging into fine dining representation. So it certainly affected me. But how is it for you? Let's say.
I mean, I think, when that whole thing happened was very unexpected, right? And I think, for me, I think it's a blessing. I think it's a good thing. I think an opportunity to be representative of your community is like you're lucky, and if you're inspiring people, that's also a blessing. So I think that is cool and a blessing more than anything. And I think the only responsibility I felt was just to do to other kids what somebody either couldn't do for me, or you know what I mean, like to be available to people is important, right? Whether it's like, nowadays kids just DM you all the time. That's like,
Yeah,
that's their preferred method of like getting your attention.
definitely.
But like responding to a bunch of kids' DMs or emails, or letting them come stage, come trail with us, or help them get in contact with other chefs and create opportunities. I think that is the only thing that I think is our, so it is I think it is an obligation. Like I think if you are in that, if you're in that seat and you have the opportunity to do that for other people, then like you should,
Yeah.
right? But besides that, I think is a blessing. I think it's great, and I think it's fun, So I embrace it. I'm not one of the people who said, don't call me a black chef.
Right. So not you.
It's not me.
And Kardea, you just last year you won 2 Emmys for your show, Delicious and Brown.
Thank you.
So what does winning an Emmy mean to you, sort of personally and professionally? Again, and I'm tying that in because you talked about when you started your show, you were the only one that looked like you. Mm-hmm. So that in itself is huge.
Yes. And
it sets the tone for, a lot of food media going forward and what you would like to see. So how has that impacted you?
thank you for asking this because I couldn't. They gave me 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes to say anything what I wanted to say on the Emmy stage.
Okay.
And it feels very much like this with the lights, and you're looking out like, and I couldn't get my words out because my legs felt like noodles. What I wanted to say on that stage, it is still for me a problem that in 2025 at the time, that was last year, that we are still saying first black anything. Why in all of food television am I at 37, the first black woman to win culinary, outstanding culinary host or outstanding culinary programming in 2025? Why are we still saying first of anything and having the label of, first black, which I am very proud of being that. But I think it's my duty now to pave the way for other African American, black and brown people to do this and not be the first. Like, I'm the first, but I won't be the last.
Yes, yes.
We are not, we can't keep standing for that, especially in this day and age that we're still talking about the first of anything. And you mentioned, Charlie, that, it was luck. It was not luck. It was hard work. Yes. And it was destiny.
Yep.
That was for you.
Yep.
So I think us sitting here is historic. And hopefully, people, the chefs that are coming in after us, because that's the whole thing, like JJ said, is that the biggest thing why we do what we do, because we know we all have an expiration date. And everyone sitting in here, no matter, regardless of what you do for a living, I always believe that all of us, and no matter what we do, we're in acts of service. And so I believe that what we're doing here is for the next generation or the chefs that are coming up behind us to do this and do it without opposition, do it without hesitation. And I'm going to be, I don't know if this is going to go on the record or not. In the day and age that we live in, especially the current administration, regardless, I try not to get political, but we see there's things happening in our world right now where the history is being erased right before our eyes.
Yes.
And we are up here and living proof that history cannot be erased. We cannot be silenced. And so while we're talking about the first and most certainly not the last to do some of these things in history. So I think that's what that's what we're here for. And so for me, being the first black woman to win those 2 Emmys, enough is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned mentorship. Mm-hmm. And I do feel that that's going to be a very big part in continuing to have more Kardeas, more JJs, more Tri, et cetera. But how important was mentorship for you in terms of your career? That's a question to all, but we can actually start with Melba because we know that you had a very, very famous mentor, right? A very well-known mentor. How did that sort of help shape you and help to define where you are now?
Well, I believe that if we can see it, we can be it. That's a huge part. How can you aim to be something that you can't see, something that's not tangible. So for me, having my Aunt Sylvia right there was imperative. She laid down the blueprint for me. She was a small girl who came from Hemingway, South Carolina with a dream and walked into Johnson's luncheonette and asked for a job. And Mr. Johnson said to her, "Can you go get me a cup of coffee?" 20 minutes later, she was still trying to figure out how to get the coffee out of the urn because she had never worked in a restaurant before. But what he loved about her is that she didn't give up. Years later, when he went on to sell Johnson's luncheonette at the time, he offered her to buy it. And her mother actually took out a loan against land that she had in Hemingway, South Carolina. And that's how she brought now what is almost the whole block.
Wow.
So having my aunt there in my ear, and with her teaching me not just what to do, but what not to do, was imperative. And it was totally instrumental in me being where I am today. But I was also shaped by Drew Nearparent, who actually found me at Gracie Mansion doing an event and asked me if I wanted to partner with him and Robert De Niro and open up a restaurant. So it's about having people that believe in you. For me, I am very intentional about writing down my dreams, the power of pen and paper.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Thank you. To me, if you can write it, you can see it. If you can see it, you can believe it. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. My entire life has been manifested. Amen. You guys heard me say I'm a Black female from Harlem. Everybody told me I couldn't, wouldn't, and I shouldn't. So for me, it's like, if I'm already at the bottom, I have no place to go but up.
I know that's right. Yes.
We only have a few. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, so what I did was I took a chance on me. I took a chance on me. On 114th Street was one of the most drug-ridden blocks in Harlem. There was a school in the middle of the block called Wadley School, and it bothered me that before kids got to go into school, they had to witness drug activity. And then they had to go in school and learn. So with money that I saved under my mattress, I decided to invest it in my community. And that's the reason Melba's was born. It was born to change the community. It was born to show people that come from the Harlems of the world that you can invest in your community, and one person at a time, you can change your community. And so that's what I did.
That's great. All right, we only have just a couple minutes left, so I'm gonna do a lightning round. We're gonna do really, really quick questions. So Kardea, one dish that instantly feels like home.
Shrimp and grits.
Yes. Alexander, one person, past or present, who changed how you think about food. Not
Edna Lewis.
Was that who? I'm sorry.
Edna Lewis,
Edna Lewis,
who
of course.
basically, when I was seeking permission to be a chef and to be in this industry, and as a young opera singer, I would go to Brooklyn and sit at the counter, and she would come out and bring me something to eat, and I told her I wanted to do it. She said, then do it. Why are you not doing it? So he was my biggest influence.
Great. All right, Charlie. What is one dish that represents Black history to you?
Is it there?
Dirty rice.
Right, yeah, the rice.
Dirty rice.
Just refer to that.
Like full dish or what? Or
Yeah, just anything.
to me,
Yeah, to you.
I'm a collard green boy, so that's
There you go. Perfect. JJ, what is one career moment that changed everything for you?
Oh, one career moment that changed everything for me is when I went to Ghana with Alexander Smalls, and he let me run the kitchen at Cecil when no other chef or restaurateur in New York City would say I was good enough to be a chef de cuisine.
Yeah, amazing. And finally, Melba, what is one hope you have for the next generation of chefs and storytellers?
Wow.
I picked that one specifically for you.
My hope is that we all here, that we're able to leave our imprint and to let other generations know that if we can, you can too. and that if we can, so can you.
Great. Thank you all for joining me. This is amazing. Thank you guys for coming. This is great. Great. And I don't know.
Happy Black History Month, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you.